before we start? All right, so today is about adding and subtracting rational numbers in real life. So we see all kinds of rational numbers in real life. So you don't have to write all of this down. I know that you don't have the notes printed, but if I say this is super important and I star it, then that means I do want you to write it down, okay? So we're going to talk about some words or phrases that mean a positive or a negative number, like in real life. So a couple things that I can think of would be like an increase. An increase would be a word that we use in real life that means a positive number, and the opposite would be a decrease. Some other ones that I can think of is like bank, money. If you have a credit, that means that is towards you. Like a gift card is a credit. That means you have a positive amount of money on there. Or if you owe money, that's a negative number. If you have some sort of income, that's like the paycheck that you get paid. So that's the money that you're bringing in. Or a loss, if you lose money, that would be a loss. So that would be also called a negative profit, is a loss. Yes. I can hear somebody raising their hand or no? Okay. Okay. Trying to think of some other words, like a gain, if you gain money, or if you lose money. So loss, lose. A deduction. A deduction would be another word. I keep hearing all kinds of Aiden McBride question.
Inherit.
Inherit, yes. That would be another good one. Inherit. I'm trying to think of some other ones that would be good for us. So when you all are putting like comments, raising hands, just go ahead and unmute yourself and tell me, because I have to keep going back and forth between. So I saw. Okay, go ahead.
Where do we do this?
If you just have a piece of paper, you can jot some of it down. But like I was saying, you don't have to write all of this down. But if I say, hey, this is super important, write it down, okay? Because I know that you all don't have your notes to fill in. So I'm not expecting you to write down everything that I say.
Okay.
So if I'm like, hey, this is super important, write it down, then that's something you should write down. Right now, we're just kind of brainstorming some words. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Huh?
This is on Cami. Yeah,
I know.
Cami, so I thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah, you can. I just don't know if you can go back and forth between Cami and this. I'm not sure how that works.
You can.
Because I haven't used Cami and this at the same time before.
Can we do loan?
Huh?
Can we do loan, like you loan money to someone?
Yes. So a loan is actually a negative number because you owe that money. That's something that you owe. I was thinking like above and below. I'm just trying to think of some other ones real quick.
Is promoted and demoted one?
That wouldn't really have to do with numbers, really. But I'm thinking like loan or like money borrowed would be a good one.
Profit.
Debt.
A debt. A debt would be something that you owe, yes.
Could profit be one?
A profit would be one, and that's a gain. That's a positive number. Anybody else want to share one? Like income, like your payment that you get, like your check, that's your income, that's your salary.
We already put that.
Did we? Oh, I'm a dingle. Okay, how about a deposit? A deposit is something that is a positive number because you're depositing money in there. What about a withdrawal? That's like at a bank. When you withdraw money from your account, it subtracts money out. When you deposit money, it adds stuff in. So we're just going to,
Loss?
Loss, yeah, we've got that one on there.
Oh,
Can we do
okay.
a check? Like you get a check from someone?
So a check would be, if you're writing a check from your account, that would be a withdrawal.
All right.
Yeah, so I think we're just going to stop there. I think that's a good start. So we're going to read some word problems here, and we're going to think through each situation, and then we're going to follow our rules for adding and subtracting rational numbers, okay? So we're just going to do what we've been doing with our decimals and our fractions. And if you need to draw a number line or count to help, we don't really need that though, because we're kind of past that. So, all right, so I'm going to move this up, and we're going to work out about 2 or 3 problems together. And then you have I think you have 1 or 2 problems for your homework, okay? All right, so we'll start with this one. It says, during a drought, the local lake was 2 1/4 feet below normal levels. 2 weeks later, the water level had dropped an additional 1 3/8 feet. How far below the normal level was the water after 2 weeks? So when I do word problems, I like to read it once, and then I go back and I underline my numbers and I circle words that I think mean some sort of operation, okay? So I'm going to go back and I'm going to read it again. So during a drought, the local lake was 2 1/4 feet below normal levels. So I think that might mean an operation, and I underline my number. 2 weeks later, the water level had dropped an additional 1 3/8 feet. How far below normal level was the water after 2 weeks? So some things that we know is that it was 2 1/4 feet below the normal level, and then it dropped another 1 3/8 feet. Okay, so I know those are the 2 things that I know from reading it. And then it says I need to know, and what I need to know is how far below the normal level was the water after the 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, how low? All right, so does anybody have any ideas on what I could do to figure out how low the water was below the normal level after 2 weeks?
You do you add both of them and then you put the answer down?
Okay. And what kind of answer do you think it would be?
In proper fraction?
Yeah.
Right, but do you think it would be a positive answer or a negative answer based off the words that we saw in the problem?
A negative.
Negative.
Negative answer, because they're saying that it's below and dropped. That means that it's below the normal level, so it's below that negative level, okay? So we know that we started out negative 2 1/4, because that's 2 1/4 below the normal level. Okay. And then we know that it dropped another 1 3/8 feet. So I know that I can add another negative 1 3/8 feet to that, because I know that it dropped another amount. So these are both negative because they both went down. So this is a same sign, add and keep, right? So I'm going to go ahead, since it's mixed numbers, I'm going to go ahead and make them improper. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 3 is 11. And then I'm going to need a common denominator for this. Does anybody know what common denominator I would use?
8.
8. Okay.
16.
So I'm going to multiply this one by 2 because the other one already has an 8. So 9 times 2, that's going to be 18 eighths. And then that same sign, add and keep, I know it's going to be something over 8, so I'm going to look at just the tops. So negative 18 plus negative 11, that's negative 29 eighths. So I know that my answer is that it dropped negative 29 over 8 feet in that 2 weeks. And like I said, you can leave the answer as improper. I'm totally fine with that. All right. I'm going to flip it over and we're going to do another one. Does anybody have any questions over this one? Okay. So like I said, you don't have to write down everything that I'm doing, okay? But I would, if there's something like, oh, I don't know how she got that, or like the word borrow, I didn't know that meant a negative number, like that might be something that you write down, okay? All right, so number 2, it says Jonathan borrowed $800 from his grandparents to start a lawn mowing business in his neighborhood. After mowing lawns for a month and paying his expenses, he was able to pay them $188.56. How much does Jonathan still owe his grandparents? So I read it once, and now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to look for words that mean operations. I'm going to underline my numbers and go from there. So Jonathan borrowed $800 from his grandparents to start a lawn mowing business in his neighborhood. After mowing lawns for a month and paying his expenses, he was able to pay them $188.56. How much does Jonathan still owe? So that's what I'm going to need to know, is how much he owes. Because I don't know. That's what it's asking me to find. I do know that he borrowed $800. So what kind of number do we think the word borrowed means? We said that on the front. Would that be a positive or a negative number?
Positive.
Well, let's look back. We put right here, loan borrowed was a negative number. So when you borrow money from somebody, you actually owe them that money. So this is going to be a negative 800 because we borrowed it from them. And it says that he's paying them back. So it says that he paid them back $188.56. So he made a payment towards that. So that's going to be a positive number because he's paying it towards that borrow. All right. And then here I'm going to plan and work. So are there any questions about how I knew these two things? Okay, so I know that this is how much he borrowed and this is how much he paid towards it. This is a negative number. This is a positive number. So they're different signs.
Subtract.
So I'm going to subtract these. So I'm going to take 800. Yeah.
Is that a negative? Negative 800?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we borrowed that. And I'm trying to figure out how much he still owes after he's paid his grandparents back that $188.56. So I'm going to take how much he owed them, and I'm going to take out how much he paid them to see how much he still owes them. Okay, so this is decimals. So I'm going to have to fill in some missing decimals here so that I can subtract. And I don't have a calculator, so we should be practicing this by hand, and then you can always go back and check it. So I know that I can't do 0 minus 6, so I'm going to have to borrow from the first number that I have, which is 8. So this is going to become a 7. This is going to become a 10. Then I'm going to have to borrow from that 10, make it a 9.
Make that 0.
And this will become a 10. Yeah. Then I'll borrow from this 10, and that will become a 9, and that will become a 10. And one more time so I can get a number over here. So that 10 will become a 9, and that 0 will become a 10. And now I can subtract. All right, so 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. Drop down my decimal. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 7 minus 1 is 6.
Is it? Never mind.
So he still owes $611.44 to his grandparents. And you can put a negative in front of that if you want. Is everybody okay with that one, or are there any questions on that one? We're good? Yes?
Hey,
Yeah.
since he borrowed the $800 and isn't he paying them back?
Correct. So
Wouldn't it be a negative since he still
yes,
owes
you
him
can put a negative number there.
Oh,
I
didn't
put
see
the word owes, so I know that that's a negative number because we know the word owe is negative, but you can put the negative there. It really doesn't matter.
All right.
We just need to know that he still owes them that amount of money because he borrowed $800, he paid this back, but he still owes them this much. All right, we're gonna do one more together, and then I'm gonna let you work on your homework. Okay, so we're going to read it first, and then we'll underline and circle. So on Monday, Melody checks her bank account and has $437.23. She knows that she will get paid on Friday and earn $236.12. She pays her bills, which amount to $582.96. What will Melody's bank balance be after she pays her bills and gets her paycheck? So I'm going to go back and read it again. So she checks her bank balance, and this is how much she started with. She knows that she will get paid on Friday and earn $236.12. She pays her bills, which amount to $582.96. What will Melody's bank balance be after she pays her bills and gets her paycheck? So we need to know Melody's account balance. And then we know 3 pieces of information about her balance. We know that she's starting with the $437.23. And that's a positive number because that's how much is currently in her account. All right, and then it says that she earns $236.12. So do you all think earning is positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
Yeah, positive. And then when she pays her bills of $582.96, do you think that she adds that in or takes it out when you pay bills?
Takes it
Take
out.
it out.
So what kind of number would that be?
Negative.
Negative.
Negative, because when she takes that out, she subtracts it out. She has to pay that out of her account. So we're going to put bills on here, and we're going to put a negative $582.96. So those are the 3 numbers that we know that she has the 437, she's going to earn the 236, and then she's going to have to take out the 582. Okay. So is everybody good with the information that we found? Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start our work here. So we know that she's starting with that amount and that she's getting ready to earn some more. So I'm going to add how much she earns to her bank balance that she had. And that will give me how much she has before she pays her bills. So 3 plus 2 is 5. 2 plus 1 is 3. 7 plus 6 is 13. So I'm going to put my 3 and carry my 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. And then 4 plus 2 is 6. So that's how much she has after she gets paid. All right, and then I know from that amount that she has in her account that she's now gonna have to pay out that $582.96. So now I'm gonna subtract out how much that she has to pay for her bills. So why don't you all subtract that real quick? So if you've got paper in front of you, you subtract that and I'll wait.
3.
Okay, so I'm gonna borrow from this 3 because I can't do 5 minus 6. So that's 15 minus 6, which is 9. And I'm gonna borrow from this 3 because I can't do 2 minus 9. So that'll become a 2, and that 2 will become a 12. So 12 minus 9 is 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. Can't do 7 minus 8, so I'm gonna borrow, make that a 17 minus 8, which is 9, and then 5 minus 5 is 0. So is that a positive amount or a negative amount that she has in her account left over?
Positive amount.
A positive amount. So we say that she has $90.39 left in her account. Are there any questions over this before I let you all work on your homework problem? I'm going to stop sharing this unless somebody needs me to wait. Anybody need me to wait?
I need to wait.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Okay.
So your homework problem it's basically one problem, but it's 5 questions based off that one problem. So it's going to want to know like pieces of information like these kind of do. Make sure that you're reading and answering all parts of the question. If you have a question, you can email me. And if we need to hop back on this Google Meet to answer that question, we can, because this link is live, I think, for another like 15 minutes or so. But if you look in your folder right now, you don't see the homework, and that's just because I haven't posted it yet because I didn't want people to work on it before. So just as soon as everybody's done with this, then I can take this off and post that homework. Does anybody still need a second?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing this. I'm gonna go back to my Google Meet. I'm gonna stop recording.